All right, welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. No, I haven't said in a long time, an hour-long podcast dedicated to all Mexican football like that. We haven't said that in a while in the intros. So
yeah, it has been a while. It definitely has been a while.
That's like ingrained in my head for the however many years in the whatever episode we're at. But all right, welcome to our edition. All of you that are watching us on YouTube or also Periscope, which I thought was going away, but it's still living in Twitter land. So
do you remember when we used to Periscope after like games, and then like Naive got really good at it, and he was doing the Periscopiando or whatever, like after matches. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It feels like Twitter always throws out some kind of option, and we are totally for it. And we like remember what were those ones where it was like you news and you kind of like you spent a long time and you're part of like building like a little news things, and it's like
yeah,
I did that for a while, but yeah.
Anyway, we're getting old. That's good.
Well,
telegrams.
Well. Remember, all right. I was saying hi already to Alex de la Rosa, who's first. No, the chat is quiet, so we'll be there. But all right, let's jump into it. As you can see, we have Mr. Cesar Hernandez in the back. He says he'd all sweated out because he just went to work out, and now we're gonna expose him.
Dang, I thought we were leaving. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like. I could tell Owen, I can tell Wiso that I just finished like going on a jog. I'm like, so if the listeners look at me like I'm sweating, like, oh, probably won't say anything. But I guess now if they see that I'm sweating, they'll know. They're like, oh, he's not having a panic attack or something. He's just finished jogging. But yes, hello, sweaty. Hello. I'm glad to be talking to all you guys digitally and not in person because I probably smell bad. But excited to talk about El3 though.
There we go. El3, Mini 3, we have lots to talk about. But as you see, a new face, I would say familiar face, because you've seen a lot. It's Sir Owen Diana, who's joining us for the very first time. Got put into the Gold Cup Daily last week, and then bam, right up to the majors here, as we're saying, rated in the start 11 here in the Mexican Soccer Show. Adriana is super busy with Olympics, all the coverage that she's doing at Tudén in Mexico. And then Amy had a soccer game, so she hopefully good to her. She's out there scoring more goals than Henry Martin. So, Mr. Owen Diana, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to be here. Feel like I'm in the top flight now.
Oh,
after last week, gotten promotion.
Yeah, you got in, and the coaches saw you like you're going in. We are already getting some questions, but before we start that, just a little quick, Owen, where'd you come from, man? Like all of a sudden, boom, we see some videos. You're there, Golteca, you're from Next Nation, and you're all there. So for those that don't know, just a quick little intro. And where are you at?
So I'm in Boston right now. That's where I've always been based out of. I've had a real passion for Mexican soccer the last 5 or 6 years. Watched Liga MX religiously, and then the last year and a half, have tried to turn it into my profession. So I'm on Twitter all the time, doing a lot of stuff with FootMex Nation, covering both Liga MX and El Tri.
Awesome. Then we're definitely get into to how you got in. You're bilingual also, right? So I mean,
Yes.
you've done some pretty cool interviews already with some players from was Santos, right? Yeah,
Santos, yeah, Omar Campos and Carlos Acevedo.
Super perfect. All right. Questions are already going in, so we have no time to get to know Owen. But every time you're in, we're gonna get a little more, get to know you a little more. But we'll see. All of you guys that are watching us, don't worry. We'll start talking about El Tri. I know, but we want to welcome Owen here at the Mexican Soccer Show. But all right, 3 big topics: Liga MX. We have El Tri in the Olympics, Mini Tri, and then we also have obviously the Gold Cup. So. There's not that many of you, and I wanted to see what you guys wanted us to talk about first. But let's talk about El Tri. Let's talk about the Gold Cup. So let's just jump right in. Mexico cruising. Throw it out there, right?
Yeah.
Like finally cruising through the quarterfinals, beating in Honduras in one half. After the Guatemala game, everyone was just kind of like, whoa, what happened in that second half? Not Guatemala, El Salvador taking the reins. Mexico looked in trouble. Then Mexico rested. Then Mexico in the first half looked like powerhouse, CONCACAF king, like no problems. Funes Mori scoring, and Jonathan Dos Santos coming back with his great smile, and then Orbelin Pineda with a great header. It looks like everything is going just great, like Fight Till Sunset back in 2006. Caminando, con Cocos, I think was his thing. Was like it's just easy. But Cesar, good. I mean, best game that we've seen from Mexico in. Gosh, I don't remember. I think it's the best game maybe like last year, I would say.
I mean, at the very least, I think we can all agree that it was the best performance we've seen from him in the Gold Cup so far.
Right.
That first half was easily the best 45 minutes I've seen for them in the Gold Cup so far. I think you can make the argument that perhaps even in the entirety of 2021 so far as well. I think it is important to remember that going into this game, while Mexico were kind of going on a high after like doing so well in the group stage, and I know that it was kind of closer against El Salvador, but they didn't allow a single goal during the group stage. I felt like they were kind of building this momentum. And Honduras, they had that kind of like tough final match of the group stage. And also we got to keep in mind that they had players, staff test positive for COVID, so they were unavailable, and they've had so many injuries. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. But nonetheless, I mean, it's not like Mexico chooses what opponents they're going to be facing. So they got the job done. And yeah, I mean, I was very impressed. I was very impressed by Rogelio Funes Mori, by Orbelin Pineda, by HH again, Jonathan Dos Santos. It was exactly what you've been waiting to see from El Tri in the entirety of the Gold Cup, where you not only have a 3-0 scoreline by halftime, but you had a really fluid attack with Orbelin, Rogelio Funes Mori, and Tecatito in that front line. Mm-hmm. So it was exciting to watch. I know in the second half, it makes sense why Mexico kind of took a step back. And I know some people were probably feeling a little bored watching that second half. But man, that was as good as it gets for El Tri, especially in that first 45 minutes.
Sergio, our friend, founder of PVA, saying everything back to normal. The final is guaranteed. Owen, are you so sure we're there? I mean, let's not talk about forward yet, but the things that did well, that you liked, that just like Cesar said, great first half. Everyone can, but your take on that 3-0 win?
I really like Jonathan Dos Santos as part of a midfield that I thought really dominated proceedings. And I think the thing that's encouraging in the bigger picture here for Mexico, certainly in this Gold Cup run, is that even though they did struggle in the last half hour against El Salvador, you could say maybe that was their worst half hour of the tournament. The best 60 minutes of the tournament were the first hour of that game. They really controlled the midfield in that match through Edson and Hector Herrera principally. And I think we saw that again against Honduras with Jonathan, who is more of a goal scorer than Eric Gutierrez. I was looking up the stats. So in 55 caps, he has only 5 goals. All of those goals have come during the Tata Martino regime. So he's better at getting on the end of things than Guti, who has 1 goal and 26 caps.
Jonathan has 55 caps. I always feel like I don't remember Jonathan's games outside of like the Gold Cup 2 years ago.
Right.
He's got 55 caps. Wow.
And it's not. I feel like it's not. I don't want to belittle his like the amount of caps he's got, but I feel like with El Tri, it's like it's not too tough, especially if you're the caliber of player like Jonathan Dos Santos, to get something like 50-something caps. But Owen did make a good point there with his finishing. I mean, if you think about crucial goals that he scored for El Tri, you think about that one. You think about the one. What was it in the against United States? Was that the CONCACAF Cup or was that? I think it was actually Gold Cup. That was a Gold Cup. That's right.
The last Gold Cup final.
Where
Gold Cup final.
Yeah, where he had a crucial goal right there.
But what other goals do you remember, Jonathan?
But I think nonetheless, I think it says a lot about like how important of a player he still is, because I know a lot of fans want to move past him, and obviously it's because of his involvement in MLS, and people think that like it'd be more exciting to look maybe more towards younger options in the midfield. But he not only has that ability to score goals, but I think he's such a well-rounded player, and I think that when you're looking towards this next game that Mexico is going to have, when you recognize that Edson Alvarez might not be fully fit, then you realize, well, you know what? Jonah is probably going to have another start here. And you wonder, could he play as a defensive midfielder? Will it be Ache? Could it be Ache and Jonah? Maybe you have someone like Orbelin in a more free roaming role. So I think it not only says a lot about how important Jonathan was in the last game, but he's probably going to get a start in the next game. And he's going to have to,
I feel like Jonah, since he was fit, he was match ready, he's given those moments. Oh, when you and I were talking about it, I'm like, Jonah's going to go in there, right? Yeah, I think we were both discussing. You're like, no, I think you're going to continue to be Eric. But Jonah has been Tata's man like since the Gold Cup. Yeah. It feels like if he won the Gold Cup 2 years ago, I feel like Tata wants to replicate it. Whoever did well, and it's something that, bringing in Pizarro, right? It's like he really wants that 2019 winning Gold Cup team to work well. Well, there's lots of injuries there that obviously we don't have anymore. But yeah, no, it's I like Jonah. He's scoring his goals and very important goals, and he's doing with his role. I don't think I've said Jonah has had a bad game when he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, I think he brings a lot of energy too. I think. Like, I'm sure if you looked at some sort of heat map, he'd probably be all over the place because he has an immense amount of energy and he can cover a lot of ground, not only in attack, but also defensively too. So, yeah.
We rest Edson. Sergio said, do we rest Edson and play Guti with JDS?
I think, you kind of do. I think what you do is you kind of have Ache. I would probably have Ache as more as a defensive midfielder, Jonah as like a little like box to box guy. And then I think the question there is, do you have Guti as a more attack minded midfielder, or maybe you have Orbelin come in and then you start Tecatito and Efrain on the wing. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think I would probably have Ache as a defensive midfielder and Jonah as like more of a, I guess you can, just kind of like a box to box midfielder, kind of like shuttling in between those defensive and attacking responsibilities.
I think that would be the most logical choice. And I think first of all, I think if Edson's healthy or even at, let's say 80%, 90%, I think he has to start. Right?
Oh yeah.
But if he's unable to go and you move Ache back into the 6th position, I think that would almost be a shame in a way, because one of the things I've really liked about Herrera in these last few games is he's taking on a lot of responsibility going forward. You're seeing him getting into the box. He has the 2 hockey assists against Honduras, really 3, because on the Jonah Dos Santos goal, his header across the box gets cleared, and then Dos Santos with the volley. He assisted both against Guatemala and El Salvador. Awesome. Created a lot going forward against Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, in a way, he's been almost playing as a number 10. Like he's been really shuttling, but he's been doing a lot of good work in attacking areas, and he did score 2 goals against Nigeria too in the pre-Gold Cup friendly. So what he's been doing going forward has been just as important as his general control of the midfield, spraying the ball around. So it would kind of be a shame if that new aspect, I guess, that we're seeing to his game got lost a little bit.
Yeah, I think Herrera has been, if there's anybody that's like, the man of the match in almost every game is Herrera, and just
Yeah.
his leadership. I think we talked about this, just how much he's taken the team to his back, and how much he has been like, all right. And even when we're seeing him live, and you might not see this, he's yelling at everybody. I at the game, I got to be close to the field during the game against El Salvador, and he was yelling at everybody when things weren't happening right in that last 40 minutes. He was all over the place, and I think that leadership is finally there. And you're seeing it with him when we're scoring. Herrera's there when something's not going right. I mean, he had to foul a Salvador player to be like, calm everybody down. He's playing full matches. So I think Herrera going forward is the captain that we've been wanting. A lot of people have been like, okay, who's stepping up? I think, and if he doesn't get the cap, I think Moreno got the captain arms badge.
Yeah,
But
I think it's
Herrera,
between them two right now for
It
the
is.
captain's armband. Yeah.
So I was because I was interested in that as well. So once Guardado went down, Herrera had the captain's armband against Nigeria the first two group games. Moreno comes back, has it against El Salvador, but then Herrera had it again on Saturday. So we'll see what happens.
I thought Moreno had it, but
Yeah, and I think if Ochoa was in the mix, he would probably like potentially have like a captain's armband at some point too. But I think it's between
Ochoa's not a leader. Like, I love Ochoa.
You don't think he's a leader? Why not?
Oh, I don't think so. I think he's always very, very, very soft spoken. I don't think he's that leader, and I think that's what cost him many starts in like their coaching. Like he just doesn't go out there. Have you seen Herrera like Ochoa ever like go out there and like I don't know?
I guess with Ache though, I mean, sometimes people forget that just like, I mean, obviously it's not just him playing with, La Liga champions, but like he was captaining Porto, I know Porto isn't at the same level as like an Atleti, but like with Porto, like he was doing that like at a pretty high Champions League level. And I think people forget that about him. Like he was captaining that side. So if he's able to do that with Porto, then and in Champions League soccer, then I mean, why not with El Tri, And like, especially when you have been seeing him like, I don't know, like yelling at other players and giving orders. And especially since, I don't know, you can almost say that in this role he's like a conductor of like sorts in that midfield.
Really, really like what Ache is doing. We'll continue to talk. We'll continue. I know there's a lot of questions on the chat. We'll have some a chance for at the end of the show. Just so keep your questions, and we will answer them because there's some of them.
Any questions about Orbelín's dance? Nothing about that? How solid that dance was?
Nobody has questions for this. That was awesome. Is it Edson who's like, "Hey, high five"?
he was like kind of awkward. He's like, what are you doing?
Okay, all right. Later, I gotta go do what I gotta do. And he's all dancing.
Because it was like a full on like TikTok like video length dance. Like, all right, can I give me a high five or something? All right, cool.
I think we can kind of go into it. Sergio's asking, is the defense the prize of the tournament? Tournament is such but not tested. And then somebody else also asked, is how are we liking Salcedo? And I'll let you guys kind of answer that. Well, 7 games with a clean sheet. Thought that's happy. It hasn't happened before. Never in the history of Gold Cup have they've gone the full first stage of the Gold Cup without any goals. The only time that ever happened back in the day when it was only 3 teams in the group stages. So already making some history there. But I kept going. My prediction, I'm like, I don't see anybody scoring, and I'll continue to say,
really, okay,
even semifinal, and we'll see who's in the final. But we'll talk about Canada coming up. But I still see Mexico with a very strong defense. Sure, make some mistakes there. I just don't see anybody with the quality to actually score a goal against Mexico. But
I have my doubts.
I get it. Salcedo. Someone say, "Oh wait, how are you saying Salcedo's needed for leaving Germany?" But okay.
I have my doubts. I don't know. I think Talavera has quietly had a really good tournament, and he's saved Mexico like a handful of times. And I'm saying that as someone who's recognized that he's been just chilling in the back line and basically has the best seat in the house for all these Mexico games. But he's definitely had at least a few like pretty crucial saves. I'm a little surprised that Mexico didn't allow a goal against El Salvador. And I think that when you look at some of these teams they've gone up against, especially Trinidad and Tobago, especially Guatemala, like they were incredibly defensive. Actually, I think I was looking at some of the XG numbers for, I think it was a Trinidad and Tobago game, and like Trinidad and Tobago, they literally finished with a 0.
It was. I looked it up too.
And it was just 0.
I'm not saying that Mexico is that good. I'm just saying that there isn't anybody, and if anyone was going to be El Salvador, but they didn't. Like I predicted like a 2-1 like or 3-1 against El Salvador, but I'm like, I saw El Salvador how they did, but when I saw Honduras, I'm like, Honduras is not going to score. No way, just because of how poorly they've been playing. Yeah. And then now we're seeing Canada without
Cavallini. Yeah, there's a chance, but man, I'm not like overlooking like Daryl Dike in the US. I'm not overlooking what Qatar like.
No. I'm saying right now, like
I don't know
what can happen, right? And even if we talk about the future, even if it's the US, I don't see a goal either. Like I think Qatar will. I think Qatar will be hard. Oh, but anyways, all right. I know you're going to say something, Owen, about this defense.
Well, I just think, I mean, you have to look at the teams they've played. I think, definitely the defense is definitely good enough to win this Gold Cup. Going without conceding, I don't know. We'll see. But the last,
I said until the semifinal. I don't know yet.
Right. So the last time they conceded was in the Nations League final. Right. Yep. That game there were a ton of defensive problems.
When was the last time they threw a actual goal? Was the Nations League final? Was it that? But not an actual play. Was it a free kick? Right.
It was a corner, but that's almost more concerning.
Before
right?
that, when was the last time Mexico?
You can't.
I don't know.
You can't throw those. You can't throw those, especially because it happened twice. Hold on, Lisa, because it happened twice in that game, and then specifically, so the second goal, right, when they equalized shortly after Lainez gives Mexico the lead, Chaco Rodriguez has a complete lack of concentration and then shanks the ball out to give away the corner, right? It should have been a ball that Mexico has control of possession. Right? I mean, and then Gallardo on that corner doesn't mark McKennie at all, right? So I think, and that's in a bigger pattern of. No, but I'm saying,
people that score.
Okay. Like, you can talk about maybe that one play, but I think both fullbacks, Chaka and Gallardo, are, if not they're two of like the 3 or 4 players with the most minutes under Martino. I think both of those positions are weak links. I think they could get found out in. You're trying to make the Quinto Partido. I think you could get found out in the World Cup.
We're talking about the Gold Cup. Like now
focusing on the Gold Cup, you have the shutouts, but I think something that's interesting, and someone was writing in with a question about Salcedo. Martino's switching up Salcedo and Araujo. Moreno's coming back. It doesn't seem like even within this Gold Cup he has a settled defense.
Yeah, it's I think that's the issue too, because like even me, like I don't know what I prefer. I don't know if I prefer Moreno Araujo. I don't prefer Moreno Salcedo. I don't know if I prefer Araujo Salcedo, because I don't know. I feel like there's some inconsistency with Salcedo. Araujo, I'm still not. Maybe if I had to pick a favorite from those 3, I would probably choose Araujo. And with Moreno, I think he brings a lot of experience. I think he brings a lot of physicality. I actually think something that's a little overlooked by him is I think he's kind of a threat off set pieces. And and because of his height and size, and I think he can actually, I don't know, like eventually score a goal in the near future for Mexico off a corner or off a set piece. But he just doesn't have the same speed he used to have. And I feel like it's getting obvious that off counters, like there are a lot of teams. I'm not going to say teams that they've already played, but like going forward and in World Cup qualifying that are going to be able to like speed past him. They're going to be able to like run past it because he just doesn't have that same speed. And I also worry about the fullbacks too, because I mean we've seen, I don't know. I guess at the very least with Xhaka, I feel like he's done a decent job in the last couple games, but I'm not fully confident with him nonetheless. And Gallardo, I don't know. I think it's becoming increasingly obvious that someone like an Arteaga, if he was a part of this team, would potentially be a starter over him. So I have my doubt. I have
Gold Cup people. Gold Cup. Yeah, World Cup would be completely different. I'm just saying.
We did technically make the Quinto Partido the Gold Cup. Are we celebrating? Is that what we're doing? Like,
we're already like,
we made the Quinto Partido the Gold Cup.
Ready for the World Cup. By the way, Amy's saying that Owen's doing great because.
Thank you, Amy.
She's like, you're doing great. All right. Let's step back. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten a goal because I thought El Salvador was going to score. I didn't think Trinidad. I didn't think Guatemala. I'm just saying the opposition that we're playing, I don't see anyone, unless it's some kind of a horrible mistake, that can score. I don't see them getting scored against Canada either. That's why I'm like, And then who knows? Who knows in the final? Sure. But yeah, I love this comment right here. Chaka on defense. is either
Chaka.
sleeping.
Chaka.
Chaka riding down the wing is, a tiger. Yeah, Chaka. People love to hate on Chaka. Like that's just, and
I
but
think it's just because
nobody talks about his Chucky-esque type of goal that he did against El Salvador. Like,
that deflection.
No. Did you see the cut? It's exactly like what Chucky did on the other side.
Yeah, I think it's
boom scores in there.
The issue with Chaka is just that, like, and why we all feel so frustrated is that obviously there's something special about him if he's gotten so many minutes with the Ignis. And the fact that he's not only gotten a lot of minutes with Tata, but also he's gotten a lot of minutes with Osorio as well. Obviously, there's something there that the managers really like about him, and I think that what's tough is that we've seen a lot of like options with potential. You're like, ooh, Mosso could potentially, maybe Loroña could potentially get more minutes. Or like Jorge Sanchez maybe could surpass him. And I feel like I've talked about this now for like, I don't know, at least like a couple of years now. Where we're all hoping, be like, okay, eventually one of those guys is gonna surpass him.
Yep.
And I'm still not entirely sure if one of them has really, really surpassed him just yet. And I think it's a little frustrating.
Will Tata ever try Corona right back? No.
Maybe a wing back, more so of a wing back.
I don't know about right back. I think we need that, but we'll see. All right, let's talk about the tournament, and then we'll go to talk about El Tri Mini 3 at the Olympics. But Canada with their captain missing, they're not going to be there because of cards. Cavallini not going to be there. I mean, I don't necessarily see Canada if what I saw Canada with a bad Costa Rica, right? Not necessarily, dominating, and I don't see it. I think we're in the final. I think this is going to be the easiest semifinal that we played in the Gold Cup in a very long time.
I don't know. I think it's Canada obviously aren't their best. Obviously, they didn't have some of their best going into the tournament too. Like it's easy to think like an Alphonso Davies like that who is not available, and having their captain missing is definitely going to hurt them in defense, and then having Cavallini be unavailable is also going to hurt them too. That said, I don't know. Like their midfield's still decent. I still think Mexico are obviously the favorites here. I think I say 8 times out of 10 Mexico gets a win here. But I mean, you saw what Mark Anthony Kaye can do in that midfield. You saw what Eustaquio can do, and actually, I was really, really impressed with Eustaquio, who I think used to play for Cruz Azul.
He did.
I think I want to say like 2 or 3. He was there for like.
He was there He was there in 2019. Yeah, I had done some research on that. He has like a really, really kind of unfortunate story for him. But I guess just to pick that, also Jonathan David too. I mean, they're missing before the tournament. They're missing their 2 best players. One through injury. David Leal didn't even allow him to go to the tournament. And then they're missing Cavallini, and then they're missing their captain, as you said, through yellow cards. I think there are still some dangerous players in there for sure. Buchanan on the wing, I think, is a player who's been rumored to go to Europe. I think will be going to Europe at some point, if not this summer, potentially in January from MLS. They have some good players for sure. I think Eustaquio, I was looking, so he came before the Clausura 2019 to Cruz Azul when Caixinha was there. On his debut, he was going to get red carded, gets called off for VAR like 20 minutes later, tears his ACL. Then by the time he comes back, Caixinha isn't the coach anymore. He doesn't really get a look in, and he gets sold.
Yeah.
So he'll have some. I mean, he has some experience in Mexico, maybe looking for a little bit of revenge there. And he scored. So he's got 3 goals and an assist in his 3 appearances at this tournament. A goal and an assist against Costa Rica. So I think he's definitely one to look out for there. In that
I think he's gonna make things like a little challenging for Mexico in the midfield. I still think Mexico's gonna win. I think their
defense is really bad. Canada defense is really bad. They're gonna go for extra time because they don't have their captain. They don't have the best forward. They're gonna stay back. Mexico's gonna continue to play, which is what's been happening this tournament. I'm thinking 2-0 Funes Mori. The threat that now he is, and now there's a target in his back. So that's what I'm thinking. I think we're going to continue to do well, and then the final. We'll see. We'll see if we get far. We get the U.S.
Yeah, and like I think like it's 8 times out of 10, I think Mexico wins this,
9.5.
especially against
9.5
9.5 out of 10.
times out of
Dang.
10.
9.75, 9.999. No, I think Canada's gonna they're gonna be a little surprisingly difficult, and also I feel like now it was almost as if like this is like another sign of Canada saying like, you know what, it used to be kind of Mexico, United States, and then Costa Rica as a big 3 in CONCACAF, and I think this is another step for Canada saying, you know what, it's actually Mexico, United States, Canada for the top 3 in the CONCACAF region. So I think this is another step in the right direction. But
I think everybody's like,
yeah.
I love Canada. I wish they were there, but I don't even think they're going to go to the World Cup. Everyone keeps saying it. I'm telling you, Canada going into Central America or Mexico or the U.S. is not going to get a point. I mean,
I don't
like,
know.
We'll see.
But yeah, but I think like you said, just like Funes Mori, he's looking like he's like, I don't know, it's really, really clicking in that front line. And I feel like some of us need to be a little bit patient with him too, to kind of like adjust to this new team, this new setup. Yeah, but he's done well. I've been really impressed with him. I'm maybe it's because I have such high expectations of him, but I want Tecatito just to step up a little bit more. I think there's just, I don't know, I think I have like such high like ambitions and hopes for him and want him to go to Spurs. Yeah.
That's Tecatito always, though. This guy is going to give you one game that's going to be amazing, and he's going to give you a good 20 minutes and then do his job. He's a big threat. I mean, look at what he did in the U.S. game. Bam, first game, right? First goal, first minute, right? Like the brilliance of Tecatito is just enough to get you a huge threat. And but I don't think he's ever going to have. Maybe once in a while. I think with the Copa America against Venezuela, he had a golazo.
I think he's due for a big performance though.
Yeah,
and I wonder if it's gonna be this. I wonder if it's gonna be this game, or I wonder if it's gonna be the final. And then and obviously Orbelin, was incredible in the last. I mean, he was. It looked like he was just having genuinely was having like a blast out there. Like it is like
Orbelin is doing what he's really good at. You know what I mean? Like we've known this about Orbelin, and now he's finally stepping up. But again, it's the opposition. Like that's. I'm telling you, I think El Salvador were the hardest halves we're going to have in this Gold Cup, and we'll see. On the other side of the U.S., squeezing by Jamaica. Then now they play against Qatar. Qatar is looking really good. Qatar. Somebody I think was it Sergio that I read? He's like might even win the tournament. That'd be hilarious. I think I want that Qatar. I want that Qatar Mexico final. I think it'd be great to see that. U.S. just for the rivalry because but it'd be kind of fun to have that. I also said that U.S. wasn't going to make it to the final, so
start the Qatar Mexico rivalry.
Yes,
classic. It's a classic.
You say we still sleeping on Canada? No, I'm telling you, I was fine. All right, so what are your predictions? Canada, Mexico.
It's gonna be close. I think this could be the first game that Mexico allows a goal, and it's gonna be 2-1 for Mexico.
2-0 for Mexico.
Yeah,
I think a little bit more comfortable than
2-0. I'm gonna go 2-0 because I don't think I'm telling you, I saw that defense against Costa Rica, and I've been watching the Canada games. I don't think they're that good.
I can't believe I'm going to root for Canada to score on us. This is weird, but all right. Just as long as they score too.
All right. I'm saying 3-1 Mexico. We'll see. All right. Let's Gold Cup game on Thursday in Houston, and then game on if they keep going, which I think they will. The final. I'm telling you, book your tickets already. Go if you're gonna go to Vegas.
Like 300 people sending you DMs. We used to be like, "Hey man, can you give me a refund or something?" You said they're gonna be there.
I was seeing that it's sold out already. Imagine if it's Qatar and Canada in the final. So it's already sold out.
That would be kind of funny.
But look, you already bought your ticket. You're probably already bought your plane ticket. You're gonna go to the game. It's Vegas anyway.
It's Vegas. It's at that new stadium, and you don't have to
go. Yeah, if I go and if I'm Mexico, it's a new stadium. Like
it's next, and it's next to the actual Vegas Strip as opposed to where the Leagues Cup final was, and you're like, yeah, Vegas. And you're like, wait, where's the stadium? How many minutes? How many miles away? How far do I have to drive?
That was crazy. All right, we'll see. Give us your predictions, and I'll put it all here on the. It's like we'll do it again. Jaime Costa saying 3-1 Mexico. We'll see. All right, let's switch our gears to El Trio Olímpico, who were all riding on the great high of beating France. Gignac versus Mexico, 4-1. Córdoba. You you had Linus. Everyone was doing great. A perfect start to the Olympics. By the way, Alex is saying 2-0. And then came the host, Japan, running on like all cylinders times 2, times 100. Totally surprising Mexico. Mexico, in the very first 10 minutes scoring 2 goals. And then it was just kind of like, what does Mexico do? After a red card, we got a goal off a set piece. But all right, it's crunch time. The differences between starting out really great and getting that end, but we do have some goals. So I'll start with you, Owen. First of all, what does Mexico need to do to advance?
I think they need to be a little bit more aggressive, try to control the match a little bit better than they did against Japan. I think the real issue against Japan was that they ended up playing the game the way Japan wanted to be played, which was a lot more quick transitions. They let Japan's speedy, skillful attack get at them. Less possession or less control, certainly, in the midfield than they had against France. I think they need to get on the ball as much as possible, try to dominate possession and territory, and try to limit the attacks that South Africa could have. I think if you look at it, I don't think Japan was a favorable matchup, certainly in a defensive sense for Mexico. I think even though Gignac, you have this big name, and Thauvin now. Thauvin looked out of form, out of shape. Gignac is certainly not as mobile as what Japan had up front, right? Japan was an extremely mobile front line, extremely quick, looking to get in behind a lot more than France were. I don't think that played into Mexico's hands, and they need to counteract that with more control in this next match.
Answering Alex is, who do you think is decreasing their market value at the Olympics? Cesar, what?
Actually, I was going to ask you guys because I've only watched the highlights from the Olympics so far.
Because someone's not staying up. I mean, Cesar.
Man, just this like ridiculous like work-life balance. I'm like, it's like 1 a.m. Like, do I stay up? Do I? But like, I mean, but from an outsider perspective, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. But like, obviously, from that first game, it seems like Alexis has definitely like continued. I mean, because like from what I was reading, from what I was seeing, like people were really hyped at what Alexis Vega has been doing, and also Cordova. But I didn't have a chance to watch either of the games. So obviously, with the second match.
Second match, I feel like nobody did.
Right. Yeah. I think the only one who's kind of carried credit through both would be Vega. Also, Takefusa Kubo, the Japanese star, had some really kind words for. He was speaking. I think he was questioned about Linus, but then he ended up saying something to the effect of, "You can tell that Vega has a lot of quality, a lot of talent, just from having playing against him once." He should be in Europe, or I wouldn't be surprised to see him in Europe soon. I think Vega's the one who, of the stars from the first match, which were numerous, right, was the one who still came out with some credit in the second match. Linus is already in Europe again. He wasn't as effective. No one was as effective in the second match, but Linus, I don't think well, he didn't lose his stock. I think the ones who fell, I mean, the ones you were sad to see, Vasquez with the red card, he was great against Gignac. In the first match, Cordova was also really good in the first match, with some decisive contributions in attack. Was losing the ball a lot.
Cordova looked bad.
Just losing a lot of possession, making bad decisions.
That's interesting because I feel like that's something that like America fans have been like really bothered with him for. Just like is that he has this potential, he has these abilities, but you don't see it game in and game out. And that's interesting that he had it seems like he had a very good first game, but then the second game he just lost the ball a lot. Because I feel like that's something that's actually like I feel like that's one thing he needs to work on. But it's good to hear about Vega though, because I mean it seems like he's just an entirely different player when he's not wearing a Chivas jersey. I mean, obviously he's still a very good player for Chivas, but I think what really helps Vega too is that like it's like I'm still not entirely sure what his best role is, and you kind of see it like kind of like changing like as he's developed. Like when he first like started his career, you're like, oh, he's kind of like a second striker, almost like a 10, but maybe he's actually just a true striker. But then you've seen him like going out to like the wing a little bit too, and obviously he's like crafty with the ball and has some speed and pace. So I'm glad to hear that like he's had a good Olympic tournament so far, because you watch him and you think that just like, geez, this guy seems like he has the ability of just like someone who's like a few years like older, and you look like you look at him and you think that he should be playing European soccer. So that's good to hear about Vega.
Yeah,
I think his best position right now to, that kind of question is on the wing right now on the left. I mean, he hasn't been as good with Chivas certainly as he's looked in these two matches, but I think even the last few matches with Chivas, the back end of last season, he was decisive for them qualifying for the Liguilla, for the Repechaje off the left, right? And he was their best player, and he's carried that through. I think, he's got a goal or two in him, certainly, even from the wing, which I think is always important.
Yeah. Vega for me, so far, just because of he had a good game, but there's not much that he can do. It was just the quickness, their surprise. When you're down 2 goals, and Montes again, just kind of bad decisions in the way he did. At the very beginning, you're down by 2. Japan didn't score anymore. Japan at 30. I mean, their whole game plan was speed, go in, scored 25th minute, 30th minute. They stayed back. Mexico tried it, but they were, And then what happened? Mexico ended up scoring. So I would think like if Japan versus Mexico start one more time, like I think Mexico's like, okay, now we know what to do. Yeah. But that's what happens in hindsight. Right? Jaime Lozano was completely surprised by Japan, and then those 2 goals went in, and I am glad even after the red card, I didn't think Japan was going to get another goal. It was just like, can Mexico go through? They were going to get a 2-1, and that 2-1 was very, very important. That one goal is very, very important when it comes to. So, I mean, it wasn't a disaster because that one goal. And, Cesar, what are you about to say?
No, I was just what you said right there. It seems like getting that one goal was like pretty significant when you're looking at the group standings, and that gives Mexico a little bit more of an edge to potentially make it to the next round. Obviously, they still got to get that result against South Africa, or hope that France slip up, but it is looking favorable for them going through. As to how favorable it is that I'll wake up at 4:30 in the morning on Wednesday, I'm not entirely sure. That's still up in the air because I'm getting old. I'm an old man. I can't do that anymore. But we'll have to wait and see.
Henry Martin. I forgot about that discussion. Everyone was tearing at me when I put my Henry Martin. A lot of people hate on Henry Martin, right?
Because has he really been bad? Because sometimes I feel like and you guys tell me, because I feel like with Henry Martin, it's almost like it's like when watching like Caraglio over in Liga MX, like he does such a good job of being like a target man, like getting the ball, like being physical, like connecting like with the front line, and like kind of like being a little bit of distributor in the final third, and like occasionally scoring. But is that what we're seeing, or is he really actually struggling? Is he actually like really struggling?
People want him to score. I get it. He's a 9. He has to score. When we don't have possession, he's not going to score. In Japan, if you watch the game, there was no creativity within Mexico to try to get the ball. And when Vega finally did, Henry Martin is just, there's 4 people around him. If you look back at that very first shot, Henry Martin gets pulled down. That was a penalty kick. Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised he actually got the ball and he turned around and it was a quick shot. But everybody wants him to score. Everybody's saying that he's trash and why is he there? I tweeted out in the first half, Henry Martin is doing exactly what he needs to do, is hold the ball and pass it back to Vega, pass it back to Cordova, pass it back to Lainez, because they're just crowding that box. So, and the second half was a totally different story. They could have done a little bit more, but we'll see. I think, who else do we have as an overage player to give us a 9? It's not like we can bring somebody in, but.
People would probably say like Santi Ormeño, but that's not happening anymore. Now, and also I also think that like, I'm not entirely sure if that. That's a different conversation about his abilities. I don't know if he's would have honestly been the best player for El3. I think people just saw him scoring a lot of goals, and a lot of them actually from the penalty spot. And we're kind of excited about him playing for El3, but I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a different conversation. Maybe you could have said like. I know you look at some of the younger options. I know that
we need an overage player, though. That's what I'm saying. Usually, where we're at. So
maybe someone in the Galaxy or something, some sort of all-time leading goal scorer of all time.
He'll continue to start. Henry Martin will continue to start.
He will.
He will. Even in the first game, like you should see how much he pulls like defenders, and they are over him. Yeah. So especially young defenders. I've never really been a fan of Henry Martin, but I'm seeing what he's doing, and I think people don't give him enough credit. But he needs to score goals. So, yeah, I get it. I've been tagged on, like, Henry's not starting. I mean, Henry's not scoring any goals. But we will see. Mexico versus South Africa. They need a win. If they win, they're in. If they lose, I think they can still go through because, yeah. Oh, and you did the math.
So they're in second place in the group right now. They have a superior goal difference to France, and they're tied on goals for, which is the second tiebreaker. So if France loses to Japan, supposing South Africa doesn't win by – South Africa still has a chance, but they need to beat Mexico by 2 or more goals, right? So say Mexico loses, even loses by 1 goal to South Africa, and France loses to Japan, Mexico are still through. And a draw for both Mexico and France would put Mexico through with by virtue of the better goal difference as well.
I think the most important thing is that their I don't know, their destiny's in their hands. So like just win the game. Just to get the.
So if Mexico ties, if Mexico ties, they're vulnerable. A France win would put Mexico out, but if France either tie or lose to Japan, Mexico would go through in the event of a draw against.
I think France and Japan tie. That's what I think happens. And then I think Mexico and South Africa tie or win. Like, I'm not 100% sure they recovered from that game. But if they both tie, we're
if they both tie, then Mexico would go through because because then it would stay the same and just
right.
Yeah. We'll see. All right. Questions on the chat. Where are you guys at? Now you can ask your questions. Let's see. Is there anyone from the Mexican team that can help? Oh, here is a question. Is there anyone from Mexican Olympic team that can help the Mexican team in qualifying for the World Cup? Yes, a lot.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Sure. Many.
Really quick. Gold Cup team versus Olympic team.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Who wins?
The Gold Cup team.
Let me. Yeah, I would say so, but let me look at the Olympic team really quickly because.
Yeah,
I want.
With that Montes defense, they still need.
I think it would be pretty close.
What do you guys say?
I think it would be pretty close. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty close. I think the Gold Cup team would barely surpass them, just because you still have Ochoa in net for the Olympic team. You have Lainez on the wing. You have Vega. Oh man, you have Luis Romo too. I don't know. It would be close.
I think the Gold Cup team would win the midfield battle though. They would win the midfield battle for sure. I think that would end up being crucial. Also, I guess, well, if you have Chucky, if you have a healthy Chucky, I mean,
true.
That's on the Gold Cup team, right? I think you take it. But also, I mean, we've talked about Tecatito, and he's a mercurial player, but you'd have between the two teams, the Gold Cup team has the best attacker.
Yeah, no, the Gold Cup team wins. I mean, we'll see. Look at Herrera just going in. Look at that midfield. Right. All right. Jaime Acosta has been asking about Luis Romo. So Luis Romo, he's saying, Luis Romo, why do Mexican teams always hold Mexican players back from going to Europe? I guess there was some rumors that the team didn't want to release him. And Jaime is mad, saying that's why we can never take the next step.
I mean, there are just several factors that come into play, but it's like, I don't know, it's obvious that because it's an insular kind of market for transfers, because that Mexican players and because Mexican clubs tend to have a lot of money, Mexican clubs tend to value Mexican players more than what a European club would. So that's why you could have a Rodolfo Pizarro going for, I forget how much in the millions to Monterrey, to Chivas, because that player is worth more within Liga MX, and you have teams that could spend more on those players. And also you have to think about it too, that just and when those players are getting or when there's a lot of huge transfers for these players also make decent money too. And it's easy for us to be like, oh, why does that guy go to Europe? And it's like, I don't know, if you were in a Mexican player's shoes and if you're making great money and if you get to chill chill in your country and be a massive celebrity, as opposed to probably taking less money playing for a European club and having to fight for your spot. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that players should be doing that. I'm just saying I can kind of understand that a little bit too. So it's a little bit more difficult to sometimes have those players go go abroad too. So I think sometimes you have to have clubs that are willing, Liga MX clubs that are willing to maybe, I don't not get as much money as they thought they would have for some of these players to go abroad. Yeah.
It comes out to money. Mexican players are expensive. Compare, you can get 3 or 4 players from South America that are equally as good or even better that other teams are going to take a chance on. So Jaime saying I'm not mad. It's just a weak spot.
Also, a quick point. Cesar's right on all the points he had. I think a quick thing to add in this particular case is that Cruz Azul are going for a bicampeonato and they're serious about it, even though there's not a lot of money there kicking around. They've held on to all their big players. There was interest in from Tigres for Orbelin and Rivero. They've managed to hold on to both of them. They actually worked a deal with Xolos to get Rivero back. And they've re-signed Corona to a new deal. They've re-signed Aguilar. They've re-signed a lot of their players who were out there, maybe not under contract. So they've maintained the entire title winning team, or certainly the key parts of it, the core of it. I think that's potentially a factor here. But I have heard, I was listening to something today saying on ESPN, I believe it was John Sutcliffe, saying that if Cruz Azul get an offer for Romo, he's maybe the one who could move, but we'd be talking $10-12 million. And for Getafe, for a Celta Vigo, I mean, the pandemic is hitting teams in La Liga. Those are the teams that have been rumored. That's a significant fee. So that potentially prohibitive, right, for him moving in this window.
I know. It's like passport. It's another thing.
Yeah, it's like that also something to keep in mind too. Yeah.
Yeah, EU passports. Look, why are the U.S. players getting to teams and they have the EU passport? Why Mexicans easier to get to Spanish because you can get it. You can go through it. You don't have to be there for the league. So yeah, this is a great question. When Giménez comes back, who do you start? Is it Giménez at 100% or Giménez? Hey, this is first time, because 100% Giménez starts if he's at 100%. I mean, there's no.
Yeah, they're just certain. Yeah, they're just certain things. Yeah,
Funes Mori is doing well.
I don't know. There's just certain things that I think that Raul Giménez can do that Rogelio Funes Mori, like. What was that?
He did start, by the way. I actually got to watch his game. It was on ESPN in Mexico, and I totally illegally downloaded this. Anyway, I watched it, and it's hard watching Giménez because every touch, I'm like, is that okay? Is he getting better? It's such a I'm glad that he's playing and he's doing well, but he got, I think, 60 minutes. He's heading the ball.
How is he looking
twice. I watched it. I'm like, I thought he's not supposed to be heading the ball.
Right.
But
it was interesting. There is actually, I have the quote here. There was Tim Spears. He's a writer who writes about like Wolves for The Athletic, and he talked about like Giménez coming back. He says that it's still early days, but how good is it to see Giménez looking like his old self? Some of his movement and link-up play is of such a high standard. So it's like kind of cool to see that like it kind of looks like it might look like a little bit of the old Giménez. Obviously, we're gonna have to be patient. He's not gonna be that, and I think we have to like give him time to really, really readjust to coming back to play, because it's been a long time since he's played like a competitive match. But at the very least, that seems kind of promising. And going to back to that question, I just think I'm a fan of Funes Mori. I think he is a deserved starter for Mexico in this Gold Cup. But I think if you have Giménez at 100%, you would easily start Giménez. Like he's genuinely a world-class player. Like genuinely a world-class player.
I'll tell you guys right now, I think Funes Mori keeps starting for the whole year. I don't think Giménez is going to come back until he is at the top of his form with Wolves. And having Funes Mori there, I think Tata is like, okay, it's almost, Giménez is way better. Give me that. But it's going to be a while before Giménez comes back. So I think he'll be with the team in the qualifiers, but I'm not quite sure he'll get to start right away unless he's doing what he's doing. So we will see.
One other thing quickly about Giménez too, in terms of bringing him back into the fold, is the morale boost that would provide. Even if he's not, you know, you obviously have to be relatively judicious if you're Tata. You're not going to bring him back for a qualifier or a string of 3 qualifiers now, right? You're going to need the whole squad for those international windows, and you wouldn't want to necessarily waste it on a guy who you couldn't actually play. But even if he's just there to sit on the bench for 3 games, having him back in the squad and actually available to play, I think would be a huge morale boost. I think just the question I'd have with him, obviously at 100%, he's the man. A lot of why Funes Mori is there is because he's the one who best replicates what Jimenez offers. I think a worry is just the heading, the wearing that head brace cast, that cover, is not going to give him the same level of force as his actual forehead would. His heading ability was like he's a very well-rounded player, but his heading ability was an integral part of what made him such a great player. And I think, first of all, getting over the fear or the mental block that there could be from the incident itself. And then also now, if he's going to be wearing this head cast for the rest of his career, how is that going to affect his actual heading?
It's like a band, right? So it's not like a band.
It looks like it does have some cushioning though. Like
exactly. Exactly. So we'll have to see. Right.
Maybe it gives him a better advantage.
But
I mean,
if it turns out just like that,
he feels
like the ball down on his head, he'll now be great with that. But I think certainly if he comes back to anything approaching 100%, he has to be the starter.
Last question, or if you guys have any last questions here, what percentage of this Gold Cup squad do you see starting in Qatar? My opinion is 60% of this Gold Cup roster, 40% Olympic roster. Let's see. All right, everybody's back. I think we can formulate a good starting 11 for a World Cup qualifying. Ochoa, so that's already 1 out of 11. So that's Olympic. In the back, I don't see anybody from the Olympic squad taking.
I think maybe, I don't know. I'm still
not with
Arteaga was gonna be there.
Yeah,
as I said earlier, I think that's a good shout at left back, considering Gallardo's now come into the team here for the last 3 matches, but Tata had kind of given him a little bit of a slap on the wrist. He didn't start against Honduras in the pre-Gold Cup friendly, didn't start against Nigeria, didn't start in the opener. So I think there's an opening there potentially for Arteaga.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think potentially there. Yeah.
The mid, Herrera's a for sure lock.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think if you
Charlie, although Charlie's good.
Yeah,
Edson and Achaate are for sure set. Yeah. I think those are, in fact.
Yeah, I don't know.
Outside of Ochoa, maybe the
start in there.
2 most surefire ones, right? And then Charlie's gotten a lot of minutes under Tata too. I mean, if Jonah continues what he's shown here in his substitute appearances at this tournament, and then on Saturday against Honduras, I think he could compete for that position. But I
almost think like it'll be
Roma
like
as well.
If Achache's out, I think he puts in Charlie almost.
Yeah, I think there's a good.
So
chance
I don't think Charlie will go
in.
in. I think if Achache is out, Charlie's completely in. But if Achache is in.
And we haven't said anything about Guardado either. I mean,
where do you even put Guardado right now? Like,
yeah, it's tough because I think if Mexico were to if everybody was fully fit, and if they were to have a Gold Cup final tomorrow, I would say it's Edson, Ache, and Guardado. 100% putting in Guardado. 3 months from now, 4 months from now, I don't know. I think it's. I think sometimes he can go a little missing. Sometimes,
and that Gold Cup final in the middle then.
The one against from 2019.
Yeah, because Jonah was there. Did he get subbed in? And Guardado?
He did get subbed in.
That's a good Jonah got subbed in and scored.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good.
And Pizarro was in there too. So
yeah, which is why you would understand why thought that would bring him to the current setup too, because it doesn't have much time to kind of like reintegrate like some sort of like new player, try to teach a new system. It's just like, all right, just bring in Pizarro. But I think when you're looking at this best 11 too, I think in defense, I think there's a decent chance that Cesar Montes could have a starting role too, just because I have so many doubts about.
You love him since 2013.
He's a good player. Oh, he's fantastic.
And Johan Vazquez. If you're Cesar and Cesar Montes, Cesar didn't want Cesar Montes to be like
the next Rafa Marquez. Yeah,
I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to think that though, because I mean, well, first of all, correction.
Olympics.
So Jonah did start actually in the 2019 Gold Cup final with Guardado and Edson. But on Cesar Montes, I mean, he's had some errors at the Olympics. He's also had some good moments, but he was getting a look in October, November during those friendlies. I remember he started against Holland and looked really good, composed in that game. And I think that's the center back spot. I think Hector Moreno provided he stays healthy and in form with Monterrey, I think that
Isn't it
spot he's got
weird?
pretty much assured.
Mhm.
But then the right center back spot, I think, is really up in the air. We've seen it at the Gold Cup. Tata doesn't have a real, between Salcedo and Araujo, he doesn't really have a favorite or someone that he feels confident enough to use in every game. I think Montes could put himself into that discussion. Certainly with a European move potentially, or some great form with Monterrey. We'll have to see how that transpires.
And then right back, Julian Araujo from the Galaxy. No, I'm just kidding.
I think Salcedo is going to continue to be the main.
I don't know. I have my
I think Tata loves. It's not a preference. I think Tata likes Salcedo. That's his guy. And then on the other side, Tecatito's not going anywhere. Chuky's back is not. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not going
Up front, it's easy. Up front, it's easy.
Anywhere, or Funes Mori. So I would think Ochoa is the only person.
From
The other ones from the Olympic team. So, yeah.
I don't know.
For sure. I'm talking about for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a chance for Cesar Montes. I think there's a chance for maybe Charlie Rodriguez. I don't know.
Cesar Montes in the qualifier versus your first game, like, you need experience.
I think Charlie, there's a chance too. I mean, Charlie started in the Nations League final.
Yeah, I think Charlie's a chance.
Been one of Tata's preferred players, so I think he's in kind of a battle with Guardado there. Guardado's getting up there in age. I think if there was an important World Cup qualifier tomorrow and Guardado's healthy, maybe. But if we're talking about Qatar, let's see. Guardado's already. I believe he's 34.
True. Yeah.
He'd be 35, 36 at that time.
I think
we'll have to see what kind of shape he's in at that point.
I wouldn't think Charlie and Ache and Edson would be there. So that's where I was just like, yeah, Charlie would be there if Herrera's out. So out of this 40% Olympic roster, we're going to go with 1. So that's 9%.
We'll have to crunch some numbers on that.
One other shout. We're also, since we're thinking about Qatar, if Lainez keeps showing the improvement that he's shown this summer, I think you have to put him in the starting lineup somewhere, right?
Starting?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know.
I think you do. And the person who asked the question, maybe Tecatito at right back. I mean, if Lainez has a breakout season this year with Betis, maybe it's something you consider if you're having problems. If there are doubts about Chaka.
Qualifiers. You just have Tecatito. I mean, as much as I love Lainez, and I'm on the Lainez trend since forever, it's just the qualifiers are different. They're not going to let Diego Lainez do what Diego Lainez does in Honduras.
I think
Salvador. I'm telling you.
I think you wouldn't do that like against El Salvador. You wouldn't do that against like a U.S. men's national team. But I think because I've thought about this too beforehand, like if it is going to be a team that is going to be incredibly defensive and they're just going to like put literally like 11 players back, then you kind of do think that, all right, maybe then that's when you do have a Tecatito, like Owen mentioned there, and like I forgot who asked the question. We can have him as a right back because he's kind of played in that role for Porto beforehand, where when they play up, because Porto are also a big team in Portugal, and they have to deal with these like minnows who sit like really far back, and you can have a situation where you have a Lainez on the wing, a Chucky, and then you have Tecatito, who's basically a wing back, and adding more numbers going forward. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Lainez, or even Tecatito. Maybe he does go to Spurs and maybe has an incredible
Lainez is going to have to wait for Tecatito to be done to get a starting spot, because there's no way Chucky can be done. And
it'll be interesting nonetheless.
So we'll see. Everybody's asking about CH14. Sorry, guys. I don't see Chicharito's done with the national team. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's done. From what's happened, and Tata and him are not the same, and I don't necessarily see Diego's such a creative player. I really think he's a contention for a starting role. Yeah, I think in the future, I think so. But Tecatito's experience, what he's doing, he's not going to take Chuky's spot. He's not an upfront man. So interesting, unless you're playing with some kind of FIFA 4 forwards thing, then you don't need him in the middle, maybe. So we'll see. All right, off topic. Oh, and great videos with music. Who's the best hip hop artist of all time?
Oof.
I mean, if you don't say Rakim,
my favorite. I'll start with my favorite. This is a little off the beaten path. I really like Scarface.
Okay.
I don't know, the best lyricist. I really like Andre 3000.
Dude, I've said he's in the top 5. Everyone always clowns on me when I say Andre 3000. They're always like, no. I think Andre.
Nas is also really good. AZ, another kind of like off the beaten path. just for lyricism, he's one of my favorites. I also really like in the Tupac Biggie discussion, though, you know, those two get named a lot. I don't think Tupac is as good a lyricist, but I really enjoy listening to Tupac.
There you
That's
go.
What about groups though? Because I think you're gonna give some love to Tribe Called Quest. That's my favorite. Probably
Yeah,
my favorite.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
I really like some East Coast ones like MOP. I like
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah.
Gangstar too. I mean, Gangstar I consider kind of like it's DJ Premier and Guru rapping, but I really like Gangstar a lot too.
Cesar, you got to throw in yours now.
So Tribe Called Quest is definitely like up there, and I'm also like a little bit of a like weirdo, so I always like gravitated towards De La Soul. Like that's definitely kind of my vibe.
Yeah.
Them and A Tribe Called Quest, and then I don't know. Nowadays, I don't know. I feel so old when it comes to hip hop because I feel like I'm just about that golden age period, but not like cheesy like 80s hip hop, because sometimes I can't take like some of that stuff like too seriously. But I think like late 80s, early 90s hip hop is probably like my favorite hip hop. And then I don't know, it's tough for me to get into new hip hop because once again, I'm getting old. I'm definitely getting very. I do really like Cardi B though. So she's kind of fun to listen to.
Hey. Dude, Mos Def is definitely underrated, but I'm gonna go. All right, guys. Great. Juan's asking. So you like a little hip hop in there? It's cool. Juan's asking, is Vela done now? Yeah, he's done. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's happy just chilling in like Manhattan Beach, and just hanging out like over there in the LA area, and just focusing on LAFC. You know, he's quite like content with that situation, and like Chicharito is just like, I don't know, just things haven't gone the way that we thought they would have gone with the national team. But also I feel like it's also different. Sometimes I feel like the conversation shouldn't be like, why aren't Vela and like Chicharito with the national team in it? The question should be, why haven't we produced more players to kind of like take over for them, so we don't really have to think about them so much? Like, why don't we have more players going like
where would you even put Vela right now?
He would. Oh man, I'd be.
You're really gonna bench Raul? You're really gonna bench?
I would start. I would be tempted to right now. I think I would start Vela over Tecatito. I think it would be. I think there would be okay. I think I guess the way I feel about it is it would be tough, really, really tough decision to figure out whether I'd want to start Vela or Tecatito. I think that's where I'm going to stay.
I don't think Vela. Well, in Tata's system,
I don't know.
It's gonna be hard. He would have to completely redo what he's doing, and I think Vela is not in Tata's system, and that's why I don't think he starts.
Okay. Yeah. It'd be a tough one
though. Somebody asked, last question. I know we got to go. Somebody asked Mexican American right now that you would take, or that would do something about
Julian Araujo over the Galaxy.
David Ochoa. Somebody was asking, is there anybody out there that we should be looking at for the future?
Pepe over at FC Dallas scored a hat trick.
The nationals who could L3 use more. David Ochoa, Julian Araujo, Ricardo Pepe.
It's a good question.
I don't think any of those you'd be looking at for Qatar, certainly, right? I think it would be, you could potentially start bringing them into the fold before Qatar, but I don't think it would be to have them, maybe as the 23rd member of a squad. I don't think, it would be anyone you'd be looking at for serious playing time.
Yeah.
I think they got Efrain Alvarez, right, which I think was the big one. Certainly on the horizon here, right? And then all these other ones are kind of, let's see how this develops over the next months.
If only dual nationals stop having the names of other national team players, my brain would not go crazy. Because David Ochoa, Efrain, Araujo, Julian, I'm just hold on a second. My database of friends.
We've talked about how it's taken me forever to finally say Efrain Albert, not Efrain Juarez. My brain, it's finally made that switch.
Alvarez, Julian Araujo,
yeah,
Nestor Araujo, David Ochoa. Does anybody have any of their own names so we can just keep them out? It's funny because I already go when someone goes, yeah. And there's another Ochoa too, Sub-17 Ochoa.
Yeah, there's an Ochoa from the Bay Area. I think he was involved with the earthquake setup or something like that, and he's another Ochoa.
What happened to Jonathan Gonzalez?
Yeah, it's tough, but the Monterrey system, like
Yeah.
any good player is going to have a difficult time.
Where's he at? Where'd he go?
Necaxa.
Yeah.
The only thing that was a little worrisome for me is that he didn't start over the weekend for Necaxa, but then again, he just like went over to the team. He's got to get time. Yeah.
Is he back with Mexico? Right? Yeah.
What do you mean the Mexico?
Yes,
like
he's top tied.
yeah.
with-
Yeah.
Okay, we interviewed it, didn't we?
Yeah, I've interviewed him.
Like
I don't know if it was for
we
Mexican
interviewed
Soccer Show. Yeah, I forget if it was.
Yeah,
for
you did
Mexican
it. You
Soccer Show.
did it for I think for
I
somebody, and then
for
I
the-
did.
Yeah, that was. Oh, that's right. That's when like 4 interviews came out at once. Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but I'm trying to remember now. About Mexico. He's like, yeah, don't ask me questions about the dual national. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, cool. All right.
How much do you like the Alianza tournament, Jonathan?
Yeah.
That's a
It
question.
was actually Alianza who gave us the interview, if I remember.
Yeah.
All right. Owen, what'd you think, man? Yeah, you stick around to the next maybe other shows, the Mexican Soccer Show? Yeah, would you
For
go
sure, I'd be happy to. Really enjoyed
Are
being
you
on.
wearing a 3 shirt or is that just a green?
I
shirt?
am. It's a Chucky
yeah.
shirt back when he had the 8. So this is like.
Let me see which one. Which one?
Osorio. It's like the
Oh, okay.
2018 World Cup one. It's like the Osorio regime.
Nice. That's it. That's nice. It's like silky. Looks good. The green looks good.
I'm wearing the Old Navy 2019-2020 green generic jersey. Was probably on sale for like $3 or something.
Jerseys. Last question for everybody. Give me a thumbs up. Green Olympic jersey. You like it or you don't like it?
I like to see them wearing green. It's been so I've been looking.
It's not weird, right?
It's been 35 games since the senior side have worn green, I believe.
Love these stats, Owen, by the way.
I don't think the
35
design
games.
in and of itself is nice, but I like to see them wearing green, so that's good.
They'll wear green next year. They'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what they'll typically do.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, of course.
They'll get
building up for that.
They'll get there and we'll buy it, and then you still have the ugliest red ever, and I bought it, so it's like blood orange red.
Yeah, I told Luisa, I think one of our group chats was just like, what I like about those Olympic jerseys is it looks like they're already kind of look like they're knockoff jerseys. So that way, when I do get a knockoff, like it's gonna look kind of legit. Because you know how sometimes a knockoff, like sometimes it's tough to like recreate some of those. But with that one, I was like, dude, I'm gonna get one for like $10. It's gonna be great. It's gonna look exactly the same.
It's already a knockoff because the flag was inverted. So
yeah, true.
yeah. Chicken Biscuit is saying I want more stats like this, like shirt one. Owen just gave. Yeah. 35. Yeah, stats. We'll see. Still, by far, I think the best jersey is that black one right there.
Yeah, it's a solid one.
That gold one. Which, for those of you guys that stayed this long, every time I've worn that shirt, Mexico has not lost. Just FYI.
So does that mean you're gonna wear it for the rest of the Gold Cup?
No, because I feel it has a power of like you can't just use it for anything.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And guess what? Even in the World Cup, I didn't wear it. I'm like, you know what? They're gonna lose. Like against Brazil, I just don't see it. Right.
Maybe it has like a charge, like if you use it like once, that you can't use it for like another like 6 months or something.
It started from the Gold Cup 2011.
Okay.
And then underneath my shirt in the CONCACAF goal, when they went with the CONCACAF Confederations game.
Yeah.
Right? I was wearing it underneath. I was like, all right, we need to win. So that's why I have it there when we need it.
In case of emergencies.
Columbus, when we got our first win in Columbus.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't use it all the time. So just throwing it out there.
We keep giving Rafa Marquez credit for that game winner, but it should have been you. We should have been like, yeah.
I feel like I don't want to overuse it. So yeah. All right. We're gonna find you. All right, guys. Owen, thanks again for joining us. Cesar, always a pleasure. We'll see. We should throw in Venmo. Throw in your Venmo account so Cesar stays awake for the game on Monday. Buy me coffee. Cesar now that's $72. We can get to 100. You can stay away for the first half.
Just gonna take that money and take a nap and just like just kidding.
Cesar's OnlyFans account is all right. So, Owen, thanks again, Cesar. Thank you to Amy, obviously our producer, putting us together, and obviously putting in all. You can find us on the Mexican Soccer Show on Spotify, the Mexican Soccer Show on Apple Podcast, and on YouTube, so you can see this. Right? Let us know, and yeah, say we can. Oh, see, they're saying they're gonna buy you some coffee, so that's what everybody's saying. All right, todos, hasta la próxima, adiós.